What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to CM Aviation. Hope you're on a fantastic day today, and today I have a very exciting model unboxing for you all. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Gemini 200 1-200 Delta Connection Bombardier CRJ-900 for SkyWest. I hope all of you are excited for today's aircraft. This is a very cool one and really cool to get to feature it here today, back outside and maximizing our time for filming during our time here at home. So with all that being said, we won't waste any further time and go ahead and get started. Here's the Gemini 200 logo, the Delta titles right here. Here's the CRJ-900 itself, Bombardier CRJ-900 1-200 scale. It's G2 DAL 1278. So yeah, really cool aircraft. I actually wasn't expecting to get this one, but there was actually an opportunity when buying from the great retailer at Flyman Models that there was this aircraft that was available, and I decided to go ahead and get it because obviously there's quite a special story with the 1-400, and obviously the 1-200 is just as important. So as we get it out here, you're gonna notice the tripod stand, so I'll go ahead and get this going here so you can see what that looks like, and it's a nice simple fit there. This is actually a good one. Fortunately, some of them are good, some of them aren't. And then as you take off the styrofoam there, we have the actual aircraft itself inside. So let me go ahead and get it out. And there it is, the Delta CRJ-900. Again, this is by SkyWest, operating under the Delta Connection brand. So yeah, a very good aircraft. They did a really good job on the details and several of the applicable items of it. So let me go ahead and get this here going. It obviously takes some time on newer aircraft to break in their stand, but obviously once you get it, then it's pretty good. And sometimes it's really weird on some of these. Some of them are easier than others to prop up. In this particular case, it appears that this one likes the angle of the tripod, or sorry, the tripod stand. We have the actual tripod for this video and then tripod stand. So I'm gonna try to give you all a little bit of a cool background for this particular review. So yeah, there it is, the Delta CRJ-900. So yeah, very nice aircraft. They did a very good job on the details and various components of the aircraft to really maximize its details and so forth. So yeah, really good looking aircraft, just kind of looking at some of the side profiles and so forth. So yeah, overall it looks really nice, and again, very glad to have it. And yeah, this is definitely a tremendous asset for the collection. So with all of that in mind, we are not going to waste any further time and go ahead and get started. And again, I apologize if the light is a little harsh. My flight's at 6:45, so there's only so much I can do, and it's still good light, so don't get me wrong, I think it's still looking pretty good. So let me know what you all think in the comments below. But with all that said, let me get this situated here, and we won't waste any further time and go ahead and get started. So we have the hatch above the cockpit windows right here. You also have the windshield wipers, all that looks quite nice. You do have the radar dome here on the front, and then the CRJ-900 door titles here, which looks really nice. You have some pitot tubes and other various details there in the front. So overall, all that looks really nice. I think very good job by them to knock it all out. You have the nose landing gear door, the strut along with the various pieces there, very nicely detailed. And certainly love to have these aircraft in 1-200 to really gain a better grasp as to what these look like. So overall, looking quite nice. You have the operated by SkyWest titles here, and then you have a couple more panel details before you get to the SkyWest logo, or sorry, SkyTeam logo right there, not SkyWest. So that looks very nice. And then the L1 door, obviously a pretty substantial size there. So it also looks quite nice. So certainly really cool to see that. And then for our antennas, we actually have quite a bit of detail in this aircraft, especially on the 3D beacons, which is really cool. So you have 1, 2, 3 antennas. And that's the only major knock I would give this mold, to be honest, is that the antennas are very big for CRJ, just like the 1-400. And frankly, it would be nice if, you know, obviously they were sized down a little bit. So I know there's unit cost and being universal and so forth, and these look a little bit better on some of the bigger Gemini 200s, but you know, obviously when you're paying this premium, you'd hope that they can make, you know, designations and distinctions for, you know, smaller antennas on aircraft like this. So it's not a huge deal, but it absolutely stands out. You know, I got to give an objective standpoint to some degree on this. So that certainly is worth noting. But you have the 2 beacons as well, which those look beautiful. I think they did a phenomenal job on those. And frankly, they probably are a little big, but they're not nearly as noticeable because it's not a height deal with those. You know, those kind of stand out from a width perspective. So, and obviously when you're looking at it from this vantage point, that doesn't stand out very much. So from the width. So yeah, overall looking very nice. But anyway, you got Delta Connection titles. These hold 76 people. So the first class is like, I think 12, and then Comfort Plus, if saying Comfort Plus, it's pretty nice. They have, I think, like 8 of those, maybe 4 rows, maybe. And then you have maybe, or sorry, might be 16. It's somewhere in there, but 2 or 4 rows, 3 rows, maybe. You got the rest of the economy, so that all looks really nice. Love the baggage doors on these aircraft. It also makes a really nice sparkle to it, and overall that looks very nice. You have the doors there, and a really good job on the lever detail there. Really big fan of how that came out. That looks very nice as well. I think mine has a little bit of a paint deficiency there, but not a huge deal. I barely even noticed it, so fortunate that it's not too bad. We have the overwing exits as well, which look quite nice, and I'll show you what the top of that looks like here in a moment. It's a really good job there. You also have the wing profile there for the flap slats and speed brakes. Very good indentations, very good detail. Love all the red marks there, kind of distinguishing the various components and so forth. And just a very good job from an overall standpoint. So very happy with how that turned out. That looks very nice. But anyway, you have the main landing gear back here too, which do look very nice. And of course, as expected, they do roll. And then you got the rest of the economy section back here before you get to the registration, which is November 800 Sierra Kilo. You also have the beautiful engines right there that look really nice. You got the cowling as well. And take a look there at the actual exhaust, I'm sorry, back there. And then now the cowling. You can see how nice that looks. And there's a good look there at the fan blades. So overall cool detail, and it looks very nice. As you can tell, it really wants to wobble on me there, but fortunately we're trying to mitigate that. We have the back baggage door there as well. And then we have the detail here as well. That looks really nice. You got the Delta widget. That looks very nice, and overall pretty strong there as well with the horizontal stabilizers, APU, and all the additional details on that side as well. When we take a look at the right side of the aircraft, we have very similar details throughout, not really any major changes, just not having the baggage door on the side really. And the R1 door is the biggest change for sure. And that's the door that's way smaller. So you can see that, and obviously not made to board the aircraft, so pretty cool. I saw a reel on Instagram the other day of an ANA-8 that had a really cool attachment piece that they used on a jet bridge. I thought that was super cool. So yeah, overall looking very nice from that perspective. From the top of the aircraft, you can see some good detail. Again, the flap slats and speed brakes looking very nice, so happy with how those turned out, and overall very strong. Bottom of the aircraft, you can see that beacon once again. You got the GeminiJets logo, and it's just a navy underbelly, so not too much crazy in the way of details and so forth. And overall, looks very nice. So again, this tripod stand certainly works a little bit better for aircraft like this. That's probably my biggest complaint with it right there. Some of the stand holes or actual aircraft, you can't get it quite right when it's straight on some of them. It just depends on what it is. And when you put it back, most of them are tail heavy, so you have to compromise typically at like an angle like this, which you just got to be careful with it. There are fortunately several stands that are sold externally if you want to buy one that's a little bit better. So that option is certainly out there. And luckily, usually the wide body stands are phenomenal. They have a way better base and they're not going to fall on you. But especially for some of the 737s and Airbus airplanes, these tripod stands are a little light. But fortunately, if you work this one around a little bit, it's not too bad. So I really hope all of you enjoyed this review on the Delta Bombardier CRJ-900 in 1:200 scale. Definitely really happy to have this aircraft, and it's going to be a really cool asset to utilize at some point in a regional model a 1:200 model airport that's smaller. You obviously need good variety, and fortunately building up the fleet with obviously I've had the MD-80s, but I've needed some other, active aircraft in these fleets, and this is definitely a good one. And then now I have some United 737s and other aircraft like that. The Delta A220 is another great one. That's going to be awesome. So I have starting to get that really good 1:200 variety. So in the next 1:200 unboxing, you'll see a Frontier 320 Neo, and that'll continue to expand the airline landscape. So stay tuned for that. But nevertheless, that'll do it for today's video, everybody. Thank you all so much for watching. Take it easy, everybody. Stay safe. Trust the process. Do you love and love what you do? My name's CM Aviation. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all soon as CM Aviation is signing off.